Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Let's begin straight away with our bullet points. Cameroon and Germany have taken steps to strengthen their cultural ties. This was during an audience granted to the German ambassador to Cameroon, Christian Sedat, by the Minister of Arts and Culture. The discussions focused on deepening cultural changes and included the return of artifacts taken during the colonial period as a major highlight. As the second term begins, students in examination classes are sharpening their focus and commitment to their studies. However, striking the right balance is crucial. Without a well-structured study plan, intense revision can lead to burnout and poor retention. Experts emphasize the importance of pacing oneself to maximize learning and maintain health. In this newscast, we shall be talking to a sociologist. Following Uganda's disrupted or disputed presidential election, opposition leader Bobi Wine has been given 48 hours by the military to surrender to the police. This move comes amid allegations of fraud and increased military pressure on Bobi Wine and his party. These stories and more will be yours in a bit. Thanks once more joining us. As you heard in one of our lead stories, a significant step has been taken to boost the cultural relations between Cameroon and Germany during a meeting between the German ambassador to Cameroon, Christian Sedat, and Cameroon's Minister of Arts and Culture, Pierre-Ismaël Bidunkwat. The discussions centered on ways to intensify the already rich cultural relation between the two nations and the return of the artifact taken during the colonial period was the major highlight during the discussions. Let's get details of this story from Freddy Esamo and Melanimbo in the following part.
In a significant audience with the Minister of Art and Culture and the German ambassador to Cameroon, Christian Sedat, engaged in fruitful discussions on deepening cultural relations between the two countries. The meeting marked a crucial step toward fostering greater cooperation and understanding between Cameroon and Germany. The discussion was a resounding success, with both parties agreeing on prioritizing to enhance their cultural collaboration as they both explore various sectors where the countries can work together, paving the way for stronger cultural landscape.
I think today we focus on the bilateral cultural relations between Cameroon and Germany. And together with His Excellency the Minister, all the responsibles from the ministry, we took note of how rich the relations are already, in which different sectors they exist. And we discussed the priorities forward and how we can work together to intensify our cultural relations. Thank you very much.
Key issues discussed was the return of artifacts taken during the German colonial period. The minister emphasized that these artifacts rightfully belong to Cameroon, and the minister's request for their return was clear. It is expected that Germany would take necessary steps to return these cultural treasures. The meeting also featured a showcase of Cameroonian culture with traditional dances highlighting the country's rich heritage. The performance showed the beauty and diversity of Cameroonian culture, and it was well received by the German delegation. The strengthening of cultural ties between Cameroon and Germany is a welcome development, and it is anticipated that this collaboration will yield positive outcomes for both countries. With mutual respect and a shared passion for the art, the future of cultural exchange between the two nations looks promising.
The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Celestine Kecha-Kutes, conducted a site visit on Tuesday, January 20, 2025, to assess the progress of ongoing construction projects in Yaoundé. The evaluation, which covered 7 municipalities and SOA, aimed to identify obstacles and ensure proper use of allocated funds, underscoring the ministry's commitment to modernizing urban infrastructure. Let's get details from Madoshe Kwiate and Sharon Aratany.
The current construction projects in Yaoundé are progressing steadily, with residents of the Ngusso neighborhood pleased with the advancement made so far. The community is hopeful that the development will put an end to the persistent traffic jams in the area.
We are looking. We see that our president, accompanied by our minister, really are doing good things. Don't underestimate what she's doing today. It's been almost 18 years since I've been doing business on this road. Before, Ngusso was not like this. We're at a small intersection here. But since they demolished behind the market, business wasn't good. But since they have widened the road, we are selling a bit. Really, I say thank you very much to Madam the Minister who is here. Really, she's doing good things. They started the work. We hope that this work will be done in the best way, and that indeed will have a route that will help us all.
The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Celestine Kecha Kutes, recently visited some of the construction sites funded by the Public Investment Budget Program and expressed approval of the work pace. She, however, encouraged companies that are behind schedule to intensify their efforts to meet the stipulated deadlines.
In that many companies have, they are about to complete their work. And I call them to multiply the team and make sure that at the end of January, 31st of January, when we will be visiting the project which has been completed, we will also find that this project that has been inspected are completed. And all these programs should come to make Yaoundé more mobility.
The government anticipates that the completion of these projects will convert Yaoundé into a modern city with streamlined transport networks.
The streets of Yaoundé are drowning, creating serious health risks as many neighborhoods are littered with waste. Following the meeting held this Wednesday, January 21st, 2026, between the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paula Tanganji, the mayor, and government officials on waste management, authorities are calling for joint action with citizens to tackle pollution and restore the city's cleanliness. It is in this light that Freddy Esomo and Sharon Aratany toured some areas in the city of Yaoundé and put together the following report.
The streets of Yaoundé are overwhelmed with trash, posing serious health risks to residents and highlighting the need for urgent collective action. The lack of effective waste management infrastructure and irresponsible behavior from some citizens are major contributors to the crisis.
It bothers us sometimes. It's too much until it gets to the end of the wheel there. We are used to seeing it this much. You see, we've just swept there. We push dirt by ourselves. We clear them.
While authorities have attempted to address the issue, their efforts have been insufficient. Residents too must take ownership of their community and change their behavior.
It's just a matter of mentality because, you know, there are no more trash cans. But if we teach the population how to gather their trash, they will be able to adhere to the system. And you see, sometimes parents send their children to empty their bins, which is not good.
The situation demands immediate attention, with cases of typhoid fever and stomach issue on the rise.
Just like yesterday, the flies were too much. When you arrive here sometimes, there are flies everywhere. Sometimes lots of mosquitoes and pests. And that's what makes us sick. And sometimes we work for a week and maybe spend 2 weeks at home sick. That's how it is. We are used to it.
The onus is on both the government and citizens to work together to restore Yaoundé's cleanliness and transform it into a healthy, thriving city.
Let's now talk education, where as a second term begins, students in the examination classes are sharpening their focus and commitment in their studies. Educational experts have highlighted that success relies on a targeted support and balanced homework rather than increased workload. They suggested grouping students based on specific weaknesses, emphasizing the distinction between homework and application. This approach aims to personalize teaching and maximize student potential while avoid burnout. Let's get details from Melanimbo.
Effective tutoring and repetition classes are crucial for students' success in today's evolving educational landscape. To guarantee students' success, educators must adopt dynamic, personalized strategies that cater to individuals' learning needs. Primary school revision classes don't have the same meaning. In primary school, the teacher repeats what they suspect certain students didn't understand. Their children are promoted. We observe the class that hasn't reached the highest level, and as such, we reach out to their parents through report cards. According to experts, grouping students according to their weaknesses, providing targeted support can help address specific areas of struggle. The work to be done is to group these students according to their weaknesses. Once you have done that, the second task will be to prepare lessons to try to raise their level in relation to their shortcomings. Homework is another thing. Maybe you can choose from all the topics you have covered during the week and say, I am going to stimulate my students' minds on this or that topic. They equally highlighted the need to discuss between homework and application exercises. While homework provides students with the opportunities to practice what they have learned, application exercises serve as a checkpoint for understanding. Homework should not be confused with what we used to call application exercises back in our time, which should come immediately after presenting the lessons so that the teacher can assess the level of success of their teaching operation, the level of achievement. The technical term is level of achievement of that specific pedagogical objective. As the educational sector continues to evolve, it is clear that effective teaching methods play a critical role in students' success.
Let's now take a tour beyond our borders to get updates of what make news. First up will be in Uganda, as you heard in one of our lead stories. Following Uganda's disputed presidential election, opposition leader Bobi Wine has been given 48 hours by the military to surrender to the police. This move comes amid allegations of fraud and increased military pressure on Bobi Wine and his party. Second stop will be in Ethiopia and then Tunisia. These stories are compiled in the following report. Uganda's military chief has issued a 48-hour ultimatum to opposition leader Bobi Wine to surrender to police following the disputed presidential election that handed President Yoweri Museveni a 7th term in office. Bobi Wine, who finished second, alleges widespread electoral fraud and says he is in hiding after a military raid on his home shortly before the results were announced. The army chief, son of the president, warned that Wine would be treated as an outlaw if he fails to surrender, as dozens of members of his National Unity Platform party face election-related charges which the opposition denies. Ethiopian forces have reportedly killed more than 40 pro-government fighters in a drone strike carried out on January 15th in the conflict-hit Amhara region. The strike, which occurred in the Waghemera area, mistakenly hit a camp belonging to Fano militias aligned with the government despite the drone allegedly hovering over the site before firing. Local authorities were later informed by the army that the attack was an error, with at least 36 fighters dying instantly and others succumbing to their injuries in hospitals. The Amhara region has been plagued by an insurgency since April 2023 following federal efforts to disarm ethnic militias, while Ethiopia continues to face multiple security crises, including ongoing violence in Oromia and escalating tensions in Eritrea. Severe flooding in Tunisia has claimed 4 lives and forced widespread closures after parts of the country recorded their heaviest rainfall in more than 70 years. The fatalities occurred in Mugnai in the Monastir Governorate, where residents were swept away by floodwaters and one woman drowned in her home. Exceptional heavy rains have affected several regions, including Greater Tunis, disrupting transport and prompting the suspension of classes in 15 governorates while the army joined rescue efforts. The disaster has once again highlighted Tunisia's poor maintained drainage infrastructure as the country faces extreme weather swings from years of drought to sudden destructive rainfall linked to climate change. Away from news out of the country, let's now take you to the southwest region of Cameroon, where the governor of the southwest region, Bernard Okalia Bilai, has thrown his weight behind the organization of the 31st Mount Cameroon Race of Hope by chairing the first preparatory session of the local committee. The event, scheduled to take place on February 21st, 2026, is expected to attract athletes and spectators across the globe. Bertrand Tita takes us to the southwest region in the following report.
Addressing members of the 14 committees tasked with ensuring the success of the event, Governor Bernard Okalia Bilai emphasized the need for full engagement and commitment to meeting the high standard that the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope has come to represent. An instruction the committee members welcomed.
We have started preparing for the 31st edition of the Mount Cameroon Race of Hope. We started by selecting the dates of the race, which is stipulated for the 21st of February 2026. After having the dates, the Federation came in as a family to select the athletes who will be running for the main race itself. So we have done test races in 8 regions so far. And Saturday, the 24th of January, will be the last 2 regions that will be competing for the test race for this year. Also, to make sure that we mobilize the people of Boya and to showcase what we have in this region, we have brought back the International Trade Fair. That will begin on the 10th of February and to last 1 month to end on the 8th of March.
The test race, slated for January 24th, 2026, will serve as a dress rehearsal for the main event, allowing organizers to iron out any logistic wrinkles and fine-tune their preparations.
Yeah, we're definitely going to continue as the other years. Lots of things have changed, but not everything. The anti-doping test would continue. I think we started last year and it yielded some much needed fruits. We're going to continue this year, increasing the capacity and increasing the tests bandwidth. And we're also going to make sure that all those tests are done in ample time, because sometimes some people went behind to say that they had gone through the medical test without presenting the documents that validated them for the medical test. So this time around, the medical reports are going to go directly to the commission, and the commission, by virtue of the medical report, is going to give out gadgets to the athletes. I think that problem.
The Mount Cameroon Race of Hope is one of Cameroon's most prestigious sporting events, attracting top athletes and showcasing the country's rich cultural heritage. The venue is 80% ready.
I openly tell you that Moliko Stadium is 80% ready right now to welcome the international events. Just like last year, we are doing our best to see that we satisfy the visitors, the August visitors who will be coming there on the 24th.
With Governor Bernard Okalia Bilai's leadership, The stage is set for another successful edition of this iconic event come February 21st, 2026 in the chief town of the Southwest region.
And it is with that updates from the Southwest region of Cameroon, ladies and gentlemen, that we set the curtains to this edition of our 6 p.m. news over Camdis Television. It is always a pleasure staying with you, but do not go nowhere. Up next is Select 2, a presentation of Tabby Clarkson. Stay tuned.